You want to know what it's like to live in Richmond, California? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about today, so let's get to it. Welcome to the Living in California channel. I'm Rich Fleming, your local realtor, and I'm here to teach you everything you need to know about living, working, playing, sleeping, eating in California and specifically the San Francisco Bay Area. I get a ton of people who reach out to me with questions about what it's like to live here, how to transition here, what they need to know before they get here, and I absolutely love it. I have moved places without knowing anyone or anything, so I know how challenging that is. So if you've got questions, just drop me a text, give me a call, send me an email. Now in today's video, we're going to talk about what it's like to live in Richmond, California. So as I like to do in these videos, let's start out with where you can find Richmond on a map. If you find the city of Oakland, Richmond lies about 12 miles to the north of Oakland, and the only practical way to drive there on the freeway is taking Highway 80 east. The city was incorporated in 1905 and has a current population of about 110,000 people spread out over about 30 square miles. So that gives it a population density of just under 3,700 people per square mile. So Richmond borders a number of other cities and unincorporated areas, and unincorporated areas essentially means that they are managed by the county in western Contra Costa County. So Richmond developed quite quickly in the first half of the 20th century. At one point, it had the largest winery in California in it. The Ford Motor Company had a manufacturing facility in it. The Pullman Train Car Company had a major facility in Richmond. Then during World War II, the city really exploded in population and in activity because it was a major center for the construction of Liberty ships, basically cargo ships for the troops in the US military. So the population and the economic activity in the city just absolutely exploded during that time. Now, in the post-World War II years, the city started to see a decline, especially in the 1960s and 70s. A number of companies moved their operations elsewhere. The Ford Motor Company moved their manufacturing plant from Richmond to Milpitas, California, and other companies just closed their operations, and the shipbuilding activities really ground to a halt. Now, it was due to some of these economic declines in the 1960s and 70s that have led Richmond to having some of the challenges it faces even up to today. So let's talk about the economy and job prospects in Richmond. Now, Richmond does have a number of very large employers, but it is not really a hub for general business. So let me give you an example of some of the largest employers there. So the largest employer in the city is the company Chevron, the oil producer. They have a major refinery in Richmond. Other large employers in the city, Kaiser Hospital, so if you work in the medical related field, there are jobs there. The Social Security Administration operates one of its regional offices out of Richmond. The West Contra Costa Unified School District has its headquarters in Richmond, and UPS and Amazon both have major delivery facilities in Richmond. So public schools in Richmond are overseen by the West Contra Costa Unified School District. It is a very large school district. It covers pretty much most of western Contra Costa County, and in Richmond, I believe there are 4 high schools, 3 middle schools, and 16 elementary schools covered by the West Contra Costa County Unified School District. There are also 4 charter schools in the city. Now, the West Contra Costa Unified School District often gets negative media, but I really encourage you to do your homework. Like most school districts, it has its pros and its cons. And the West Contra Costa Unified School District definitely offers some very unique programs and has some outstanding schools. For example, the district offers a program called Fab Lab, which is sponsored by MIT to give high schoolers a real direction as to where their academic and professional careers may go. They offer 10 Spanish immersion programs, and they also have the only Mandarin immersion program for a public school district in the East Bay. So as I always do, make sure you are doing your homework and making sure that the services provided by the district are going to meet your family's needs. Let's talk about transportation in Richmond. So Richmond is serviced by two major freeways. The 80 freeway, which basically runs between San Francisco and Sacramento. That is a very busy and congested freeway, especially during rush hours. It is really the only north-south freeway that can get you from San Francisco up to Richmond. So keep that in mind if you're going to commute any great distances. The second major freeway in Richmond is the 580 freeway, and it takes people from the East Bay, Alameda and Contra Costa County, to Marin County, which is the North Bay of San Francisco. Richmond does have its own BART station and has very good access to another BART station in the city of El Cerrito called the El Cerrito del Norte BART station. Bus service is also pretty good in the city, and driving around the city is actually pretty easy. If you happen to need to go to downtown San Francisco, Richmond also has ferry service from Richmond to the Embarcadero area of San Francisco. It is a very pleasant journey, and it can eliminate a lot of stress from your life. So if that's an option for you, definitely look out for that. Let's talk about crime in Richmond. Now, unfortunately, usually when you hear about Richmond in the news, it's related to crime. And unfortunately, there are pockets of the city that do have a significant crime challenge. But if you look at crime maps from websites such as crimegrade.org, you could be misled to believing the entire city has a significant and severe crime challenge. And the reason for this is that most crime statistics are reported by zip code. And zip codes can include a large number of neighborhoods. And as I always tell you, most cities are about neighborhoods. You can't just judge them by zip codes or as a whole. You have to understand the individual neighborhood you're considering. Richmond has a number of very nice, very safe areas, but when you look at it by zip codes, it's not always the case. So an example of this is Point Richmond. Now, Point Richmond is probably the oldest part of the city. It used to be the hub of the city, and that's where a lot of train and shipping used to take place. It is a very desirable neighborhood. It's very quaint, and people really seek out to be able to live there. But if you look at a crime map, it looks like it is a hotbed of crime. And that's because, once again, it shares a zip code with some other parts of Richmond that do have more crime challenges. So the variety of housing in Richmond is really one of its selling points. You can find pretty much any type of housing you're looking for there, whether it be condominiums, townhomes, 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom starter homes, 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes, homes with spectacular views. Richmond has it all. Now, the median price for a home in April of 2023 that sold was $637,000. That's down about 7.5% from the year prior. The days on market has increased to 16 days, and that's an increase of about 4 days over the last month. And the percentage of homes that sold over the asking price was about 47%. And that's down significantly from a year ago. And this is really reflective of the overall real estate market due to the much higher interest rates this year than in 2022. So what are some of the pros and cons of living in Richmond? Well, let's start with the pros. The first pro is its location. So you are very well situated to have access to Berkeley, Oakland, San Francisco by East Bay standards. Also, because Richmond is located right on the bay, the weather is also very temperate. You don't get extreme heat nor extreme cold living in Richmond. The second pro is the variety and pricing of housing. Richmond's housing by Bay Area standard are affordable compared to cities such as Hercules and El Cerrito, which are very nearby. The third pro is transportation. You do have good bus access, good BART access. Highway 80 is pretty easy to access from almost all of the city. You have the ferry, so you do have options in Richmond, and because you're not too far away from most things, transportation is a selling point. So some of the cons of living in Richmond, well, the first one is crime. And Richmond does have significant crime challenges in parts of the city, but understand that is not the entire city. So you really have to understand what is going on in individual neighborhoods and ask me or someone else who has knowledge of the city before you just write it off because you hear or read things about Richmond. The second con, Richmond is not a hub for business. So if that's an important factor, then Richmond probably isn't the best location for you. The third con, Richmond's education system through the West Contra Costa Unified School District can vary dramatically depending on what part of the city you're in. So if you have specific concerns or needs, you have to do your homework to understand how the area you're considering moving to is being served by the West Contra Costa Unified School District. Now, a city nearby Richmond that a lot of people have interest in is the city of El Cerrito, and I did a video about it. So if you want to know more about El Cerrito, there should be a link popping up over here or over there, so check it out. If you got any questions, you know what to do. Drop me a text, give me a call, send me an email, because when it comes to helping you transition to California or the San Francisco Bay Area, I got your back. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up so YouTube knows to show it to other people with interests similar to yourself. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you know each and every time I drop a new video, and I'll catch you in the next video.